Here's a price list of some of the roofing material we carry at Pinda Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68. Grace Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50. 30 pound, $19.80. Owens, Corning Duration Shingles, and Certainty Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon of roof cement, $33.47. All sizes treated dimensional lumber. And of course, we have all nails and all screws. We have 5/8 sheetrock, $28.76. Half-inch sheetrock, $22.18. All prices include VAT.
With RBC,
your ideas become plans.
Your plans become memories.
This is retirement.
And your dreams become your life.
whether it's planning that family vacation, owning your dream home, or retiring comfortably, your ideas are everything. And RBC is here to help make them happen. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
Inland Revenue is here to guide and help you with all things business license and VAT. On March 25th and 26th at the National Baseball Stadium, the DIR will host a financial symposium with multiple government and private agencies. Then in the month of April, learn all about VAT through our in-person and virtual sessions during what we call VAT Education Month. For more information, follow Capital DIR Bahamas on all social media platforms.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. It is Wednesday, a man down mashup Wednesday, when we combine two shows to analyze the news. Today we're talking culture Today we're talking the art Today we're talking creatives. I gooseyed Erin Green to come and join me on the show, right? Because I'm a creative. I'm not sure if Erin knows, even though she already knows, right? I'm a creative. And when I see culture, history, or anything of that like inside the news, I become very circumspect, very critical, very analytical in general, and say, hey, I need to interrogate that. I need to find out if I benefit, and by extension, my community benefits. And since I'm a person who tends to critique almost everything, I tend to analyze almost everything. I tend to look at things with jaundiced eyes and look for the positive. But even some things I say, man, that need to be worked on, explained, delve into more for the sake of the country, you know. Not just to be critical for critical sake, because when it's good things, I might say, herald it. No, this is a good idea. And I'll that forward, and I'm going to herald it for the sake of the country. And there's some things I say, no, I ain't too easy about this. And if I don't push, if I don't ask the tough question, if I don't make time and space to analyze this thing, it's going to sneak past Bahamian people, and we will not be the good of it, right? We will not benefit of it. Recently, I've been having a series with antiquities, again, because I like culture, history, and the arts, right? And in fact, I have another interview next week with one of the historians there. This week, I see there was a big announcement in the millions of dollars, $7 million, in fact. And then the people who were in charge said that how they getting the rest of the money, they have no clue. And I got a little uneasy about that. What do you mean you have no clue? How can you be investing my $7 million and have no idea how the rest coming about? And I said, you know that Grand Bahama just get a fire truck and they go into bushfires like crazy, and one fire truck servicing one of the longest islands in Grand Bahama, they got to be asking the airport to say, man, can I board this fire truck for a couple minutes, right? You know that that family islands do not have fire truck in general. People got to be donating, doing fish fry to get it. So when I saw this big announcement, I said, this wasn't in the budget. Where did they get that $7 million from? Who is it for? Why is it for? And I say, Erin, give me a little time so we can do an interrogation of this. Not to be critical, but for sake of the Bahamian people, to make sure we're not being hoodwinked, bamboozled, deceived, run amok, right? And some people can take this personally because I already get inbox and say, you are a hater. You are anti-creative. And I said, but I am a creative. But you're getting paid too much. You and your $150,000 paycheck for saying you're a creator. And they said, man, some people ain't get no money. But I'm going to do it for the sake of the Bahamas because someone needs to be the gatekeeper. Someone needs to protect our integrity. Someone needs to protect people who are creatives inside the Bahamas who are begging government for sponsorship to get access to the tourism dollar, to get access to training abroad, locally, and etc. So, all that preamble to talk about the Performing Arts School. I think that's what it's going to call. The Performing Arts School. And I'm going to go in the newspaper because I don't want to speculate. So because when someone critiqued me, say, you just speculating, you don't know nothing. And I said, okay, I'm going to just talk about what I do know, what's inside the news, and then critique what's inside the news. That means if is insufficient information inside the news, it's you. You ain't giving it to me because you're hiding it from me. If you're hiding it from me, I got to ask why. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you hiding the information from me? Why are you hiding my money? So that's what the conversation is about. Aaron Green, how you doing?
Good yawning this morning. This how's been.
Yes. And thank you for doing this for me, by the way. And I told you to do some research for me. And I'm not sure if you wanted to talk about this, but I like the arts. You are creative. You are comic.
Man.
People don't realize that Erin's a comic troupe, improv comedy, and she writes, right? And she performs on stage. So she is a creative. We are vested in this conversation. We talk about, that's why she all bring all these music people on the show all the time and analyze Bahamian songs all the time. This is who she are. This is who we are. Mm-hmm. We are creatives. But go ahead, Erin. I've been talking too much already.
All right, so there's been lots of information in the news of late about the Creative and Performing Arts School. There is a website. Of course, I didn't write the website down, but if you search Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas, I think they have a website now.
And this way I say, pick a stick, a pen in.
Yeah.
There's a place on Shirley Street.
Yep.
The old movie theater. What is that place called?
The Performing Arts Center.
You say we have a performing arts center that we have no Bahamian have no clue when it's going to open because it's closed. It's run down. It's dilapidated. But no one in the ministry has addressed that issue. Say, well, we're going to bulldoze this. We're going to correct this. We're going to rebuild this, refurbish it. No information. But they're going to make a performance arts school?
Yeah. It's Creative and Performance Arts School.
And I'm assuming that you put it that way because it's a different meaning. And performing arts school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's performance arts, right?
Yeah.
And then there's creative. So creative can be
broad
composition of music. Right? Performance is the performance of the music, right? Mm-hmm. So the website is capasbahamas.com. That's CAPAS Bahamas.com. Right?
So they have their own website.
So they have a website up now.
They're doing much better number of government entities whose website
doesn't exist. Like they call it a website, but it's essentially a few pages on the government portal.
Yeah. And some of the portals don't even work.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this actually works. So that means somebody is vested in this last minute thing. But go ahead.
So the Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas, CAPAS, is a new conservatory-style institution set to open in September 2025.
When?
September 6th. Yesterday I gave it, let's call it 6 months. It's roughly 5 months, right? But let's call it 6 months, in half a year. Set to open in 2025, offering full-time tertiary-level performing arts training with courses in performance, creative, and technical areas, aiming to diversify the Bahamian orange economy.
Can I pause there again?
Yeah.
What you mean by tertiary? I mean, I know what tertiary means.
So that's college and university level. That's post-high school.
So the people who will be pursuing this are not what I'm trying to get at. These are people who finish high school.
Yeah.
And now pursuing either a certificate. I'm not sure it's going to be a degree, but some type of certification post secondary school. So these men and women.
Right. I'm now at the same time, I'm hoping that there will be facility, right? There will be space, there will be programming for high school programs to participate in initiatives and activities at the Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas. So we're hoping for that as well. I just want to make a note because I'm concerned about this 5 to 6 month timeline for opening, right? I'm going to read this statement coming from Latrey Ramming out of the Office of the Prime Minister. The Bahamas Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas. The government will spend $5 million to $7 million to renovate the new home of Creative and Performing Arts School, which is set to open in September. Officials have partnered with United Talent Agency, which represents some of the world's biggest celebrities, to offer guidance, internships, and opportunities for more productions in the Bahamas at a cost of over $300,000 a year. So that was a statement posted, I guess, shared on social media and with the media by Mr. Latrey Ramming, press officer.
Of the government.
Yeah,
Yes.
in the Office of the Prime Minister. Now, I also read, I can't put my finger on the word right now, but there was just like a difference in language. One saying that they will be ready to take in students.
I assume
in September. But hold on, and then the statement I just read, which is set to open in September. See, there's a set to receive admissions in September. I'm concerned about the timeline, right? From now, we call it the end of March. It's called
September,
April.
they'll be open.
Okay.
It's semantics about if they're going to have students in there or not. September, they will be able to receive students.
Right. In yesterday's paper, the article indicated where the school will be located.
On Gladstone Road.
Yeah, on Gladstone Road.
On the old Phil's building. They made an announcement of that.
Yeah, it was in the media yesterday.
Yes, $7 million.
5 to 7, they said.
Okay, but let's see, 5 to 7 means $7 million. $7 million will be spent, or is pegged to be spent?
The government will spend $5 million to $7 million to renovate the new home, is what Mr. Ramming said.
Okay, $7 million. So this is I don't want to speculate, because we get in trouble when we speculate.
Yeah, we can read right from the article from yesterday.
When they said the government will spend $5 to $7 million, is it safe to say it has been budgeted? Or I'd be speculating if I say it's been budgeted for $5 to $7 million to be spent on it. I don't want to speculate.
I was about to speculate. Here's what I'm saying. When does the budget come up?
The budget is gone.
That's a midterm budget.
Yeah, so the budget is gone. So I'm assuming that was a part of the budget, and that's why you can make an announcement, and that's why you will mention that come September.
Yeah, that's why you say the government will spend versus the government may spend.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So continue to read from this article in yesterday's Guardian. Performing Arts School will begin accepting students this fall. The government will spend between $5 million and $7 million to renovate the old Phil's food store to serve as the campus of the Bahamas Creative and Performing Arts School.
So it'll be a campus. It'll be a school.
Project leader Ian Poitier said yesterday. Poitier said the program will begin accepting students this September.
See?
I want to hear programming will begin. The first semester will launch this September. That's what I want to hear.
So from the wording, not speculating, it seems that September the doors will be open to take on students, not that the students will be there for September.
Right. I'm not certain.
Okay.
CAPUS is spearheaded by the government through the Ministry of Education, Technical and Vocational Training, and has partnered with United Talent Agency, UTA, a global firm that represents some of the world's biggest entertainers and athletes, to provide guidance, curriculum, and bring in experts to help in training.
So it's a school, and they will be working on its curriculum shortly.
Poitier said the government will pay UTA over $300,000 a year for its help.
To create the curriculum or to manage the school?
Well, remember, I'm going to read from the article again. And has partnered with UTA, a global firm that represents some of the world's biggest entertainers and athletes, to provide guidance in the development of its curriculum and bring in experts to help in training. Poitier said the government will pay UTA over $300,000 a year for its help. Quote, "You've got staffing costs for full-time and guest teachers," Poitier said during a press conference at the Island House. Quote, "The arrangement we have with UTA is that we pay them on a kind of rolling basis, 12 months for $360,000. The way that breaks down is that that's about 9 paid positions in terms of staffing for the school." Quote, "If you look at the production that we are in the advanced stages of talking about coming next year, it pays for itself. That arrangement we can terminate at any time, and we will be looking to have all our partnerships on that basis." Campus will be a full-time tertiary level institution. It will have no upper age limit. The program will focus on acting, dance, and singing. Campus was formally announced last January, but little has been heard of it since. The government has been engaged in a consultation exercise on the program. Quote, "Last year we emphasized lobbying supporters and partnerships."
Let me stop you there,
Poitier
Erin.
said, yeah.
We have Mr. Pointier on the phone. I wanted to read the newspaper to see and lay out the foundation of what is being reported on the news, but I'll stop that and allow Mr. Pointier to join us. And when he's finished joining us, then we'll go back to reading the news again and continue to analyze what is being reported in the news. But without further ado, we have Ian Pointier. Let me confirm his position in terms of what's the school name again?
The Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas.
Yes, and then he'll reintroduce himself formally and explain what is his role and if that would be his moving forward. Mm-hmm. But good day, Mr. Pointier, how you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Blessings to you, inshallah.
Yes, I heard you were discussing CAPAs. Somebody just told me and suggested I call in. I caught the end of the article you were reading, which I think was a report from the press conference on Monday.
Yes. So what we were intending to do was we were intending to read the article and put out questions of what concerns us regarding what was reported. But we're glad to have you on the line so we can... Go ahead.
I should say a couple of things. That article was a very limited snapshot of the 90-minute press conference that took place. We made several announcements, and I hope those announcements weren't cause for concern. I think they're cause for celebration. So there's a lot that's missing from the report, obviously, because they only have so much space to write. So we made some big announcements and talked a lot about kind of the plans going forward and how we're going to develop it. Was there anything specific you wanted to discuss? But like I said, I just came in on the end to hear you reading it. And just to answer your question, I'm the project lead on CAPAS, so I work for the Prime Minister. I'm an advisor to the Prime Minister, and I cover policy and communications. One of my policy areas is the creative economy, and in that guise, I'm the project lead for CAPAS. What my role would be? This is my professional background in the creative industries, in theatre, film, television, advertising, and so on. And so I would look to move into CAPAS full-time when I finish this job.
So you're, as the project lead, you're saying that when this is completed, you will then pursue or obtain a separate position in the school?
Well, I would like to be involved with the school full-time.
So this is the introduction for you to be in the school full-time?
Yeah, so I'm leading the project now. I mean, the school has to be formalized as a separate legal body, so there's nothing there's no formal structure to that at the moment. Once that becomes a formal body and a board is established, I would hope that I'm given the privilege of leading the organization into existence.
So there isn't a board established as yet for the school?
No, like I said, there's not a formal legal structure, so there isn't a board as yet. What you have to do is to basically put together effectively a business plan, get it up to opening, and then hand it over. At the moment, there's a cabinet committee that acts as the board, led by Mr. Hannah Martin, whose portfolio this is under, and then there are 4 or 5 others, I think, along with the financial secretary and permanent secretary.
And who will be constructing the business plan?
That has been in development for the last 18 months, closer and closer, and things are finalized. We lock things in, but it's a jigsaw. It's not like a shop where you just say, okay, we're going to sell cups, and it's going to be at this price, and then people can come and buy it at this day. You've got to develop the syllabus, which has taken time to do, which we now have. You've got to understand and develop the sort of student profiles. In a way, we have a kind of embarrassment of riches. We have so many things we want to teach, so many courses we want to offer. Got to decide in order to do that. And then you determine the staffing needs from that. Once we have the syllabus, which you do, we now have to determine the space requirements. So that series of conversations have been happening. And then you've got to think about the feeder programs coming into campus and the career paths going out. So, because it's tertiary level, we need to make sure that people are, when they turn 18, they're ready to be able to engage in this kind of training. And then after the 3 years, because there's no point in engaging in the training if there's not going to be jobs or opportunities afterwards. Once they've done that training, we think it's part of our responsibility to develop sustainable career paths out of it. And that's where the UTA, who I think you mentioned earlier, that's where they really come into their own.
So you said there's no point creating the syllabus if there's no jobs for these people who graduate to get.
No, I didn't say that. I said that if you have a school, if you have a training program, it doesn't. We don't have this sector in the Bahamas at the moment. If you wanted to go into these areas, you would struggle to make a living, never mind a good living. So you need to create a viable economic sector that has opportunities in it. Otherwise, you'll have to look elsewhere to have your career. Me and several others like me had to leave the country to have it. We want to make sure that there's something here for Bahamians. So
you're saying you're creating a school for performance arts, right? And for Bahamian performance to have an economy for them to survive, because there isn't one here right now.
No, you're misrepresenting my words.
No, you're just confusing me a little bit, but I'm trying my best to understand exactly the intent for the horse. So I hear you, and I'm going to go slow.
Let me go back to the fundamentals then. Maybe that helps.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the last 50 years or so, there's been a desire to create a viable creative economy here. That comes from a number of instincts. There are a lot of people who are interested in it. We see opportunities in tourism where we say we want more things for tourism to do. There's also a desire to promote and develop the culture. So the government made several commitments in its Blueprint for Change, and then also in successive budget statements about developing a school as the cornerstone of that. The idea is that you first train the people, the talent, support the development of the talent, and then you can build the infrastructure. And that's stuff that happened, before I came here. That's just stuff that's been agreed kind of, across party. So the school is the cornerstone of that. And it's the creative and performing arts. So what that means, it's kind of a term of art in the industry. Creative arts are writing, directing, producing, choreography, production management, and so on. The performing arts are your acting, dancing, and singing. And then you have your production arts. So that's lights, camera, sound, hair, makeup, props, set design, animation, costume, etc. And you take all of that and say, okay, this is what you need for an industry. Once people are trained in those sectors, then what are they going to do? What Campus is doing, which is different from what most other schools do, is say, okay, because this is new in the Bahamas, we have a responsibility to develop those the career sectors. So we're going to reach into industry from day one and say, okay, are our students being trained in the right way, at the right level, for the right jobs? Are there contacts for them? Are there jobs for them to go to? And that's what we're trying to build out from day one.
So from day one, you're planning to partner with people in the industry to have graduates to find jobs.
So the arrangement with the United Talent Agency is kind of manifold. It adds up to that. So along the way, there are internships being offered abroad in Los Angeles and New York and London. They are helping to design the modules to industry standard. So that means that we are not teaching academically. When you finish a campus training, the industry will know that you're at the right level. We're creating a production register so that Bahamians who then finish their training will go onto the register and be available for any production associated with UTA. And they represent, top talent in the world. They're also looking to bring productions here, so not just having Bahamians go abroad, but have productions come here. And in the month or so that we've been working with them, they've already brought 4 opportunities here, one of which is already in very advanced discussion. So that opportunity, which will film next spring, has about 123 paid crew positions on it. So in this first year, we're looking to train as many people as possible to be eligible for those crew positions. We won't do all because the time doesn't allow. But for example, let's say that some specialty haircuts. We want to make sure that people who are doing that training have that training so that they are eligible for those jobs. Does that make sense?
So you're saying that there'll be foreign acts come here to perform in the Bahamas?
No, I'm saying that foreign production will come here. So it's a major Hollywood studio production. They're making a TV series. They have 123 jobs, which they would bring people here to do. What happens now is when productions come here, there aren't Bahamians who are qualified to take them on. Bahamians are doing one or two side jobs, but they're not really at the heart of the production. What we want to do is to make sure that they don't have to bring any people here, that all of them can be taken by Bahamians.
Why did you decide to go with UTA and not one of the Caribbean affiliates?
Which Caribbean agencies are there at that level?
I know that Jamaica, Barbados have a performing arts where people come and absorb a Jamaican experience, an earthy experience, a Jermaine experience based on the culture. It just seems as if we are pursuing a more Anglo version of it, and
No,
that we perform.
that's a misunderstanding. You're comparing apples and oranges. UTA is one of the top 3 agencies in the world. Never mind America; it is global. It's not kind of specific in that way. Jamaica doesn't have anything that compares like that. Nobody does. What we want is people to have jobs. I think you're talking about Jamaican kind of cultural training, which is completely different.
Will there be...
UTA is Google it. UTA is a massive kind of global brand. They represent, half the people you saw at the Oscars, Cynthia Erivo, Timothy Chalamet, whatever. That's where the jobs are. Now, what I would hope down the line is that we also have connections, particularly with other countries in the Caribbean and Commonwealth, where we can really be the cornerstone of their industries as well. But, you can't compare an agency to a cultural center.
Will there be effort to absorb or create a craft for Bahamians instead of being created for a foreign concept?
It's all for Bahamians. It's all for Bahamians. There's no Bahamian props making or foreign props making. It's just all kind of industry. What we want is Bahamians to have opportunities. You sound so skeptical. I don't.
No. I'm not skeptical.
Hang on. But this is such an exciting opportunity, and I can tell you, our mailboxes are filling up with young people who are so excited. They see the potential in this. I've been going around schools and talking to people. People want these kind of careers. There's no hidden kind of thing in it. There's also, it's not some kind of cultural kind of expansionism or whatever. If you want to make movies, if you want to make theater, if you want to do television, if you want to do radio, these are global opportunities, and so you want to make it wherever. The great thing about technology now is, there's a lot of things you can do and not have to leave. Animation. We have all these graphic artists who struggle to make a living. If you're trained properly in animation, you get up to standard to contribute to some of the big franchise films. That's a fantastic career and exciting. In terms of the cultural element, we will have, for example, junk canoe strands running through a lot of the training. So no matter wherever you come from or whatever you're training here, that's going to inform and give the kind of cultural environment to what you're doing.
Good morning, sir. This is Aaron Green here. So I could appreciate the potential of the program, the successes that are possible, the opportunities that are available for individuals, the opportunities that are available for the collective at the national level, right? At the community level. I can appreciate all of those, but that doesn't necessarily outweigh the need to ask questions and interrogate more deeply both the structural, the structure of the program and then the infrastructure of the program. A question that I want to ask that perhaps you may not be able to answer at this time, right, is it's been projected $5 to $7 million renovation, right? What exactly is the $5 to $7 million for? But coupled with that question is a question earlier where I wanted to ask, right, so you sort of referenced the first things we're going to teach. What are those first things? What's the rationale for the choice? And then when we look at the $5 to $7 million, right, what exactly is that for? Does that include the entire outlay of the building, every copper wire, every piece of insulation? Does it also include the 360,000? Well, like I said, it just says renovation of the building, because then that'll give us a sense of what you're teaching. What should we expect in the building in this first phase of development, and for the choice, right, in terms of the curriculum and the first rollout of programming. Right, these are all sort of critical questions that don't degrade or in any way negatively critique the program itself or the concept itself. Like one of the questions that, I wanted to ask as you and Newry were talking, right? Like, so what is the outcome at the end of the first program, right? At the cohort, when the first set of certifications are issued, what is it that we're going to see happening in the Bahamas, in New Providence, right? Are we going to see on day one, right? Once they receive their certificates, they've also already engaged a tourism product provider to put on a program? Will we see entertainment models being produced at the end of the first cohort? Are we creating a local employment agency as a companion to the school as well? It's all questions that people who are excited about the program, right? It's the excitement that generates the critical interrogation as well.
As you done, so I was just trying to keep notes on all the questions. Is that it?
Oh, I mean, that's it for right now. I get about 7,000 more.
I'm just,
Yeah, that's it for right now.
So first of all, it's a kind of a fundamental act of faith, which I invite people to share, is that this is a good thing. This is a helpful thing. This is a productive thing. Really going to take us into the kind of the next century, and that's the first thing. Secondly, you're relying on the reporting, which I said was a very truncated version of what was said in the press conference on Monday. First of all, you are saying it's kind of 5 to 7 million is the budget.
No, it said for renovations.
Let me finish the point, please, because it does require explanation. What I said was that's what the government indicated was they were willing to spend on the refurbishment of the building. I think we need to spend more. So if you think about it in three phases, there's the interior, which is the need for studios, for sprung floors, mirrors, pianos, all that kind of stuff. There's the exterior, which is to make the building look attractive and welcoming on the outside. And then there's landscaping. So those three sections. I am already fundraising for the school. And so if we're about to go into budget hearings for the government says, okay, this is what we're going to have, and that's an indication, then I would like to fundraise more because I would like it to be a building of outstanding beauty. But functionally, what we need is to get those studios going, get the interior section going. So that's kind of the priority. The building, the function of the building has to follow the use. And so the reason why, we don't need everything on day one. If we've got 6 studios ready and, the others still need to be built, we'll do that. That's really standard for this kind of endeavor. And if you look at University of the Bahamas or any other education place, start, and then you build and grow and develop. So that's the kind of thing. That number doesn't tell you anything. And I caution the journalists about this. You can print a figure, but that doesn't really to understand.
Excuse me, sir. Hold on, sir. That figure was released by Latrey Ramming, the press officer in the office of the Prime Minister. In a statement, he said the government will spend $5 million to $7 million to renovate. Yesterday and today, I prefaced or added to that statement that I saw it on social media, and it's likely that he shared it directly with his media contacts. Like, that's where the information came from.
It's what I said in the press conference, that is the indicative amount the government said they are willing to spend on this. You can take it up with Latrey, you can take whatever. I'm telling you what the situation is. The government has indicated that amount. There's still a budget to be agreed, which is, like I said, budget hearings are happening. There are decision makers in that, and that's way above my pay grade. But I'm telling you the money that the government has indicated informally that they would be looking to spend on that. And I've said that I would like us to spend beyond that because I think that we can create something really fantastic with a little bit extra. So, I'm not faulting you for saying the figure. All I'm saying is that the short form of the story doesn't actually capture kind of, the whole kind of truth of it. So the second question you asked was around priority for undecided. So what we've done is actually created a scorecard, and actually probably bring that up, setting out a number of criteria for kind of how we decide which courses come first. The main thing for me at the moment is about where the opportunities are. So, like I said, because we've got productions who are, closely considering coming here soon, I want to be sure that we have people who can take advantage of those opportunities. So the sensible thing to do is, okay, focus on those things. We know that location management is an issue. We know that carpentry is something that people can take advantage of. But I could find that scorecard for you and give you sort of breakdown. But that's the kind of thinking. There's also, let me just look here. There's also things about how complex something is, what the cost will be. Just give me a second. But basically looking at both ends, both the supply side and the demand side.
Mr. Pointer, I see you mentioned that there are a number of productions that's on the pipeline coming to the Bahamas. And I am now understanding that you're saying that the school is being crafted, created, being built out. So when these productions come here, that there are Bahamians who will be qualified to take on certain jobs.
Exactly, because at the moment we miss out. You know, they come here and they bring a whole bunch of people with them who are doing jobs that we could do. So, you know, want to prioritize those. But then there are some things which are kind of longer. So here I go. Here's the metric. So first of all, staffing is, can the training be delivered using primarily local expertise? That's one of the ratings. Training the trainers. So when we have people coming in to teach courses, local experts be given top-up training or take on longer-term training needs. So basically, if we have somebody here who has done a little bit of something, but really could do with a bit more support. Another metric is the timeline realistic and achievable. Budget, is a budget available and sufficient? Infrastructure, is there availability of essential premises, equipment, and so on? Complexity, we're assessing the possible risks, including reliability of partnerships, competition with resources, and so on. That's all the kind of deliverability side of the scorecard. This is to your question about priorities. Now, in terms of impact, so we're saying, how difficult is it to deliver this course, and then what impact it's going to have? What's the potential student numbers? So we're prioritizing hair and makeup because there's a significant number of barbers and hairdressers in the country who already kind of got the skills. And I should say at this point, we're partnering with BTVI to help build out their courses. So, for example, if you do barbering and hairdressing at BTVI, you may then want to specialize in, say, period haircuts or particular sort of styling or wig making or special effects or something. So we would say, okay, now that you've done your training at BTVI, you can come on to campus and specialize. So back to this question of impact, what are the potential student numbers? Like, are there enough people? What is the potential student skill base? So if BTVI is offering something, can we build on that? What job roles are available? So what are identifiable entry-level and higher-level job roles and functions? So, you know, you're not going to be promoted to be a lighting designer unless you've been a grip or something. So what job opportunities are there locally? So are there jobs here that people can take on already? What are the gaps and shortages? So that's the whole kind of metric in deciding the priorities. So on the one side, there's supply, which I've just gone through, and then there's demand. Are there productions coming in who need these people?
Come September, Mr. Point here, what should we be expecting? The Bahamian people whose money is being spent. What should we be expecting to be happening at the institution?
So you should expect comprehensive, world-class training in all of those disciplines I've mentioned already.
Come September.
Expect graduates who are accomplished and can work anywhere on the planet at an exceptional level of skill. We should expect that because of what we're doing, we're able to attract a number of productions and ventures that otherwise would not have come here or would have come here and brought foreign talent. We should expect people to have long-term viable careers rather than the sort of stop-start thing. If you're a singer at the moment, a performer, unless you have a regular gig at a hotel, it's really tough to find something regular and sustainable. Now, you can't guarantee anything. You know, this is the creative industries. But I would hope and expect a number of businesses to come out of this. Let me give you two examples. I think at a government national level, we're looking to build a new Centre for the Performing Arts that has resident performing companies in it. So an acting company, a dance company, a music company of some sort. And that's full-time jobs. I'd expect a number of entrepreneurship opportunities to come out where people build their own companies to tour things or to looking to develop a radio drama where you have a company of about 50 actors and who are providing 15 minutes radio drama a day, dramas which can be sold around the region and not just here. That's on the kind of government side of things. But I would expect a lot more entrepreneurship out of that, where people kind of make their own things. One of the things that UTA is helping us with is to set up a production fund where we can tap into a number of wealthy individuals here, many who have second homes here, and say, okay, can you, would you come into a fund, help support Bahamian stories, Bahamian films, Bahamian filmmakers, Bahamian stage productions? So all of these things are possible. You can't mandate it. You can't sort of make it the law. I've been involved in this kind of work for 40-something years now, and it's my lived experience that this works.
So, the work you're mentioning, was that here in the Bahamas or when you were abroad?
Mostly abroad. I did some work in the Bahamas as well, but the stuff I did in the Bahamas wasn't really, I did a series of independence productions, a series of Cacique Awards. I've made I think an ad here. I was artistic director of the Dundas, visiting artistic director of the Dundas for a year. You go wherever the work is.
There was a critique some years ago when you led a performance, right? It was a stellar performance. Let me say that first. It was a stellar performance. We're saying that the work that you produce, that the Bahamas at this present time cannot afford, that you are doing first world type concept with the price tag as a first world price, and our population, our economy cannot sustain it. What would you answer to that?
I will never accept that having the best in the Bahamas is unreasonable, actually, that we are less than the first world. Good is good, excellent is excellent. I will always embrace that. I want that for the Bahamas. Those first world countries started somewhere and they built up. We can do that as well. That's number one. Number two, we are small in scale, but we have people who come here as visitors. Many more people have connections to the Bahamas. We have a lot of money that flows to the Bahamas. I know, as friends, as colleagues, many people who want these kind of careers in the industry. I want to support them in doing that. I taught a course last October to December for writers, and 22 showed up at the beginning, and there were 16 who remained throughout. And you could see the talent, you could see the craft. People need an opportunity, and that's what we're here to build. There's no point trying to say we want to change the country and then sort of flinch or shirk away from the best choice we can make. Schools would kill to have the kind of relationship we have with UTA. There are thousands of performing arts schools all over the world. This is a unique opportunity. And you know what? I'm proud to say that all of my international contacts and relationships over the years, and frankly, my reputation, I'm leveraging for this. I'm calling up everybody I know saying, listen, the Bahamas needs a hand here, needs an opportunity here. What can you do to help? And I'm proud to say that I have the kind of reputation where that person. But I will never accept that the Bahamas doesn't deserve the best. I just don't.
Mr. Poitier, with all that being said, there's still some Bahamians who are saying, hey, even with an estimate, let's say on the low end of $5 million, there are places and areas and sectors that desperately need or require that type of resourcing.
Mm-hmm.
What is the rationale you present to them for the funding of this initiative? And then secondarily, another question is, why education and tourism, right? Like, why those two ministries, if it is the Creative and Performing Arts School, why is this not couched in the ministry responsible for culture? And even if it is a funding issue in terms of the resources available within that ministry, why is it that tourism could not partner with, and education could not partner with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture to let the Division of Culture take the lead on the project?
So you're asking me some questions which are slightly out of my pay grade, because I don't make those kind of decisions. First of all, in terms of the rationale for the money being spent, that's always the charge that's laid against anything with culture. People say it's not urgent, it's not essential. There's always an argument for another hospital, another school, another primary or secondary school, food program or whatever. I don't detract from any of those, but it is the job of politicians and government to fashion budgets that address national needs. This is an investment with generations to come, but you need to start. And like I said, with cultural pursuits, there's always an argument not to do it, that there are more important things. But that's a decision that I don't take. This government has a mandate to do it. It's in the blueprint for change, and every minister, I think, promised it on the way in. Mm-hmm. It's something that the opposition also promised. This is something that the Bahamian people have said they've wanted for a very long time. So that's number one in terms of the money spent. In terms of why it's in education and not culture, The Prime Minister assigns portfolios, so he says which
No problem.
ministry should take the lead.
No problem.
And so he decided that this should come under education. I think the logic for that is that this is at heart an educational facility. It's cultural as well, but it's an educational facility. And I think the thinking was that the learnings and the experience of education, that ministry, would help it more. And I got to say, it has been. In talking to schools and students and teachers and so on, they know they have a day-to-day reality there, which is very helpful. But I mean, who knows? The Prime Minister could decide that he wants to bring into Ministry of Culture or whatever. I think tourism. This is me speaking personally now. I can't speak for the Prime Minister. I think it would be a mistake to have tourism have a hand in this at this stage, because Ministry of Tourism's focus is on tourists and getting people in. And I think at this stage of education, it's about training Bahamian talent.
Okay, absolutely. I have another. Don't worry, we only have 3 minutes left. I can keep my questions for another time.
Mr. Pointier, I appreciate it. First of all, let me say I appreciate you reaching out and being prepared to answer the tough questions, right? I would like to invite you back so I can ask some more tough questions, which you seem to have easy to answer anyway, right? Because I assume you... Go ahead.
There's lots that comes to this, but I will also encourage you, this is a good thing. Like, it's really going to be life-changing. People like me who are kind of... I've had my career. This is to serve the next generation. And I worry that we approach everything that's kind of new and innovative with this sort of very cynical mindset.
Or critical interrogation, sir.
That's fine.
Could you please?
I could talk about this.
I know, but one of the things is the wonderful speech that you said you gave. Could you please make sure that it's posted on the CAPAS website, right? CAPASBahamas.org.
It was a press conference.
Yeah, I know, but
it's 90 minutes.
But upload it anyway. Anyway, because those who are really interested in what's happening, as opposed to those who just want to run off a speculative, right, on speculation, post the information there so people could have access to it.
Will do.
Mr. Pointer, I truly appreciate you. We have 2 minutes left. I will reach out to see if I can get you on so I can continue this conversation so you can dispel some of the concerns we do have. And then you can give us detail that the newspapers clearly did not include it in their various articles. So I'm going to reach out.
I could talk about this all day. I would love to.
So the idea is both Aaron and I are creatives, and we're trying to see how this makes space for us, how this makes space for other people who are creators with us, and then we had some concerns.
Let's do it.
Yes. Sorry,
you.
Mr. Pointier.
No, please. Ian is good.
Have a good day. Producer, you going on break? I better show it almost over, man. Why? You hasn't let me finish my last 2 minutes. Thank you very much. I have 2 minutes. Let's see if we get 3 of these callers and then we'll summarize. Just push all these buttons, Kermit, and see if we get into it. Go ahead, caller. One. Go to the next one. Go ahead, caller. You have 30 seconds.
Hello?
Yeah, 30 seconds, sir.
Yeah, let me just say, the problem is not Mr. Ian Poitier. The problem is that what we have is a government trying to build a creative economy. He's trying to build in an environment for which there is no policy paper that addresses. He's just one of 100 different things that comes under the orange economy. And so the question we have to ask is, where's the framework? Where's the policy paper? Where's the SWOT analysis? Where's the pastel and whatever? And this is the problem when we talk about building the orange economy or even the digital economy that I am.
Thank you very much, Cialan. I got to move on to the next one. And Mr. Pointer said they're billing things out, so we can give him the credit for that and then ask more questions later on. Go ahead, caller. The next caller there, Kermit. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, wasting money. I mean, the gentleman earlier in Dwight's show, he had said that these jobs would have been guaranteed and sustainable. After I asked him a question, he started saying nothing is guaranteed anymore. But in a field, in an industry where Hollywood actors are even being put out to pasture for CI technology and artificial intelligence, I feel as if it's a waste of money. You know what I mean? Especially like I said before, the fire trucks, etc.
And I give an opportunity to Bahamians. I'm just going to analyze that, but I'm going to give him credit for it. He says he's going to give opportunities to Bahamians. That's where it is. Let's go to the next caller there. Oh, round of the time caller. I was trying to squeeze all of you in. Go ahead. Say the last word, Aaron.
No, I just thought that this conversation was excellent, coupled with the 2025 HBCU College Fair conversation, right? A discussion about all of the opportunities that are available to Bahamians, and then details on how to walk to your future. I just thought it was a great
We
combination
will
of stories.
continue to talk about this. We're going to make space for Mr. Pointier to come and give us more information. Like I said, he mentioned that some of the information was not included in the various articles. So we'll make space so I can ask him some more questions. Right? This has been Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. Thank you very much, Aaron Green. I appreciate Dr. Ian Pointier. No, doctor. Anyway, have a wonderful day.
Hola, República Dominicana. Send 3 money transfers using GK Money Services Western Union, and you'll be automatically entered to win a trip for 2 to Punta Cana. Prize includes airfare, transportation, and 3 nights at an all-inclusive resort. Follow us on social at GKMSBAH for more info. Hola, República Dominicana. Send today with the Grace Canadian Money Services and Western Union. Promotion ends March 31, 2025.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.